Rat on the table right off the bat, sponsored by AtGo Pest Control. John Dickinson in for Darryl the Guru Johnson. That's not the rat on the table. The rat on the table is it's Wednesday of week 1, JD, and the 49ers still don't have their best defensive player on the team right now. And, yesterday we were talking about it a lot, and maybe now it's just starting to hit home. That this team's got Super Bowl aspirations, and the Wednesday before the first game, we don't know what's going on with Nick Bosa. And what kind of omen is that for the season? How do you look at where the 49ers are right now?
I mean, look, I think everybody would have said that they would have thought that this thing would have been done by today. And maybe it still gets done today, and Nick Bosa's in for the next couple of days and goes to Pittsburgh, and the 49ers, he plays well, and they pull off a big win, and it's off to the races. But I think we're at a point right now where it could take another turn in the next 48 to 72 hours where maybe they can't get a contract done. Maybe the 49ers say, you know what, we're not comfortable playing you week 1 anyway. And week 2 is on the turf down at SoFi Stadium. So you know what? If you want to sit, why don't you go ahead and sit for a couple of weeks, and then we'll reconvene these negotiations, throughout the process. Like I feel like it hasn't gotten to the point, and there haven't been a lot of specific leaks about who's offering what and what is coveted from the Bosa camp and all of that. But I feel like we're on the brink of maybe another level to this, which could create, resentment, drama, an unsettledness to a 49ers season that was supposed to be about one goal, which is getting back to and ultimately winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and this from the 650, and I'll just throw this out early. I'm getting upset, says the 650. We were told that they planned for this, and it doesn't look like they did. John Lynch talked about that money was budgeted. The money was in the budget. He also said it's going to be tricky and complicated, but I'm kind of with you. It's gotten to the point now where it's got to be. It can't be $1 million here or $1 million there. I mean, to me, there's significant numbers out there. T.J. Watt, $28 million a year. Aaron Donald, $31.7 million. 2 players defensively have gotten $100 million guarantee, Joey Bosa and Myles Garrett. So I got to believe he wants the most guaranteed money ever, and maybe he wants the most annual salary, which is 32 plus.
And to me, if he wants that, that's well within reasonable at this point. And I think, just real quick on the reasons why this thing has gotten to this point, I think the 49ers were comfortable with he's going to get maybe the highest contract ever by a little bit.
Right.
He's going to get maybe the most AAV ever by a little bit. And how they would structure it and all of that was going to have to be a big component to it. But I think there's still a gap. Like, I think Bosa said, yeah, you're going to pay me the most ever, and then it's going to stand the test of time a little bit. It's not just going to be a little bit more. And I think the 49ers are dug in their own way because they're used to winning a lot of these contract negotiations. They're not used to getting a player and a camp or an agency stare right back at them and just say, no, we're not taking that offer. You need the player more than he needs you at this point. But when you start to get to the level of missing games and maybe the 49ers being comfortable with him missing a couple of games, that could change the trajectory of this thing and throw another wrench into it that nobody wants. It could. I feel like it hasn't gotten ugly yet, but we're right on the brink of it getting ugly.
Yeah, I could see that. 888-957-9570 is the number. A simple question. Do you think the 49ers have bungled this with Nick Bosa? You think the 49ers are to blame for the situation? The one thing I was telling JD is, and maybe I'm wrong, because we try to figure out what the perception is among the fans. It feels like the fans right now are saying, hey, Niners, get this guy in. It feels like sentiments with Bosa. In other words, the 49ers, just get him in. I'm wondering if anything could change that. I remember when Joe Lacob told, I think, Tim Kawakami of The Athletic, JD, well, Bob Myers has had 2 contracts in front of him. One of them makes him the highest paid general manager ever. And at that point, how do you not want Bob Myers to sign that contract? But Nick Bosa, if he's not the highest paid defensive player, if they don't want to make him the highest paid defensive player, that's obviously an issue. But the question then becomes, how much more than the highest paid player in the NFL? How much more money does Nick Bosa want?
Look,
and how do you balance appeasing him or signing him with, we're supposed to be getting off to a fast start because this is our Super Bowl year?
He's the first player in this Shanahan-Lynch regime that has the talent and the timing to make the 49ers have to gulp a little bit over their normal protocol as to how they do things. And I think the Niners knew that going in, but now it's, hey, that's the starting point. The starting point is you're going to be a little uncomfortable with this contract, and then you're going to add to it, and that's the real number that's going to get this thing done. I do think the 49ers knew that it was going to be trickier than it. I mean, I pointed it out day one of training camp. I remember coming on with you guys the first day you guys were out there at the Hilton, and you could tell just by the way John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan answered the first question the first day that this was very different. This was different than George Kittle. This was different than Fred Warner. This was even different than Deebo Samuel. Yeah. And so I think the Niners knew that going in, but I still think they underestimated the resolve of Nick Bosa to hold firm at whatever his minimum acceptable number is, and that minimum acceptable number is still, I think, a level higher than what the 49ers are comfortable with, even though they were comfortable probably going a level higher than they've ever gone with anybody. Exactly.
And see, I think it might be any one of a number of things. It could be the years. I mean, my first thought would be, well, Bosa probably wants a 5-6 year contract. Well, what if he doesn't? What if he only wants 3 years so he can come back to the table in 3 years? Now, that's unusual in football because it's such a violent sport. But the other thing is what if he wants an entirely guaranteed contract? He would be the first defensive player with an entirely guaranteed contract. Maybe he wants 3 and 120 or 3 and 125. All guaranteed.
Or even 3 and 105 or 110, and then he's still young enough to be able to be a free agent again coming up here in a couple of years.
Exactly. 888-957-9570 is the number. And take a listen to, this is Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. And this is what he said today. He reported yesterday something, but this is from today. Take a listen. He's of the NFL Network.
Which is Nick Bosa. And really, it's kind of the same as it's been, which is Nick Bosa's not there. Teammates are in meetings preparing for the first practice of the week, the Wednesday practice. Generally, that is a sign if you participate in the Wednesday practice, you got a chance to play on Sunday. Nick Bosa, not only not in the building. Now, he's not the only player seeking a new contract not participating. Brian Burns in a similar situation, probably not going to participate today for the Panthers, but Bosa's been holding out. He hasn't been there at all, and it seems far-fetched to me to say he'll play week 1, even if they get a deal done, which I haven't heard that that's coming anyway. And these deals are so hard to do because Bosa obviously wants to beat Aaron Donald. There's different ways, as we talked about yesterday, to figure out where Aaron Donald fits in. He is extremely principled. His agent, Brian Arolt, is extremely principled. I have not sensed movement on this one at all, guys.
Wow. And now we get to the point where if he does come in today, tomorrow, or even Friday, do you play him? Well, I would not play him on Sunday, no matter what.
I'm at the point where I wouldn't have him play on this short turnaround.
Not if you're giving him you don't give him a 5-year contract and then say, but we need you game 1.
And I think that is where if he ends up not playing this week, this thing does turn, because then the 49ers can start to say, all right, well, and Bosa may be saying, hey, you're going to go and the Steelers are going to throttle you.
Right.
And defense is going to be terrible, and you're going to have no pass rush, and you're going to be 0-1 and off to a rocky start. You got to get me in here. The Niners may be like, well, you know what? You've chosen to go down the road of not playing games. Well, we'll just see where this thing goes for another week.
Right.
When you've got the Rams and the Cardinals in 2 of the next 3 games after the Pittsburgh game. I mean, those are 2 games that the 49ers probably look at, like, I don't win those games even without Nick Bosa.
Right.
With the Giants in between. So it gets into this, how much pressure do the 49ers have on them, or does the pressure even lessen a little bit once it gets to a point where he isn't going to be available for week 1, which I kind of feel like we're already to that point, if not already beyond that threshold.